Today we are going to build another game in the game lab, and the first thing that we will be doing is we will be needing two sprites. So we will be importing them from this animation part. So from this animation library, we are going to import them. So the first thing that we are going to have is, let me just show you first what kind of game we are I am going to make today. So it is a game like this, in which we are going to have a bar at the bottom, and we are going to have a ball. Sorry, it's not this one. Is So this is the game that we are going to build today. It's a ball and bar game. So we are going to have a bar here, okay, and as you can see, the score is getting reflected over here. So that is the game that we are going to build today in this lecture. So let's begin. uh, First thing that we need is a ball type of thing. So let me just try and find it in this animals. So let's use this one, okay. Now this is looking perfectly fine. I'm going to rename this sprite as ball. The second sprite, we need to have a bar kind of thing also, this black thing, this bar we need to have. So what we can do is, we can make a bar kind of thing on our own. So for that we will be needing a new animation, and we are going to draw this thing on our own. So the first thing that we are going to use is a rectangular tool. So we are going to make a rectangle kind of thing like this, and we are going to fill it with black color. That's looking pretty cool. And now we are going to crop this sprite. So this is a sprite, the table, the bar sprite that we require. Let me just rename this sprite from here. So now we have got two sprites in this animation. The first one is a ball, and the second one is a bar. Okay. Now I'm expanding this world area so that everything can be more visible to you. Now what we are going to do first, we are going to define all the things uh, through which we can get the sprites on this. We can fetch both the sprites on this world area. So for that, the this these are the two blocks that we require for getting one sprite reflected on this world area. And this is for the second sprite. So I'm going to rename it to ball. This one also I'm going to rename it to ball, and here I'm going to select ball from this drop down. Similarly, this one we are going to use for the black bar with which we will be hitting the ball, okay. And the animation here, we are going to select it as bar. Now for getting the things for getting both the sprites reflected over here on this sprite area, what else we need to have? We need to have this function called draw, okay. And we need to define this draw sprites also. So now these are the things that we require for uh, getting both the sprites reflected on this uh, world area. So now if I'll run the animation, if I will run my app, so this is how it is going to look like. I'm able to fetch both the animations. I'm able to fetch both the sprites from this world area. Now let me just reduce the size of the ball, because the size of the ball is very large. It is looking very large. So for reducing the size, this is the block that I can use, sprite.scale. Because I want to reduce the size of the ball, so I am going to define some size like this. Let's make it 2.25. Yep, that's looking pretty cool. And the this bar I want here at this position, somewhere at the bottom. So what are the coordinates of x and y axis here? The coordinates of x and y axis of this point is 250, 380, around 250, 380. So that's what I'm going to define here, 250, and here I'm going to define 380. So now, okay, the bar has got shifted here at the bottom. Now what we want is, we want to move this ball. So in order to do that, what is the block that we can use? We can, give it some velocity first. So I think what do we? Before that, I'm going to define two variables which I am going to use for the x and y directions. I will let you know how I'll use that. So this is the dx variable and this is for the y axis, and I want to give them a random value. I do not want to hard code their values, but I want them to pick up a random value uh, somewhere around 3 and 6, or in between 3 and 6. Similarly, I'm going to define a random value for this y variable, dy variable also, in between 3 and 6. So I'm going to use it for giving the speed to the ball. I'm going to use it for the speed of this ball. How, that I will let you know very soon. Now I want to see this ball moving. How can I do that? Here is that sprite with which I can make it moving. Okay, just a second, not able to find it. So we can use, okay, these are the two sprites that we can use. For this is for making the ball moves with some velocity in the x direction. Okay, and here we are going to give it a value that is dx, which is stored in dx. Similarly, we are going to define for a velocity for this in the y direction also of the ball, and here I'm going to make it equal to dy. So now let's see whether we'll be able to see the ball moving or not. Yes, the ball is moving, as you can see. Now you guys are able to see these these ghost images over here. So as I told you in the previous lecture, for removing these ghost images, what do you want is, see, these are the ghost images I'm talking about. So for removing these things, what you can do is you can define a background color. That is, for that we need to come on this drawing part and we need to select this background option. I'll put it here. Let's see, I have given the background color is white for now. No, now we are not able to see those ghost images anymore. If suppose let me just try and change it and see how is it going to look like. And now it is looking pretty cool. Okay, so we are going to keep it as green only for now. What else do we want? Now what do we want is, this when I am running my app and it is not coming back. What I want is when the ball comes here at this point, I want it to, as soon as it hits this wall, I want it to go back or I want it to return. So I want it to move. I want this ball to move in the negative direction. Right now the ball is moving in this direction, and because I want it, as soon as it come here, I want it to move in the opposite direction. So this is the negative direction, right, in which I want the ball to move. Now what are the coordinates of this point? Here the x and y, they are around, they are more than 350. So what I am going to do is I'm going to make the use of if loop first, okay, and what I'm going to do here, uh, I'm going to use a mathematical operator, that is, I want this one. Now what I want is, if my ball's x position, okay, if my ball's the x, the value of x of the coordinates of the ball, okay, if it becomes greater than 360, here the value is somewhere around 350, 360, so I'm defining it as 360 for now. Okay, if it reaches a value which is greater than 360, I want it to move back. So how can I do that? I can make use of, just a second, let me just find that out. Okay, I can make use of this block, and what I want is I want it to move in the opposite direction. So I'm going to make the value of dx is equals to minus dx. So this is how we can make it move in the opposite direction, because this is the positive direction where the ball is moving at present. See, this is the positive direction, and I want it to move back. When it reaches here at this point, I want it to move back. So that's the reason the value of dx should be equal to minus dx. Now same thing I want to define for the y also, for the ordinate, that is y, and here I'm going to change it to dy. So now let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, now also it is, we are seeing the same thing. What else do we need? Okay, we have, the way we have defined the coordinates for when the ball is coming down, in the same way we need to define the coordinates for this section also, for this part also. Now as this window is of 400 by 400 pixel and 360 we have already used, so now we are left with 40 more. So what we are going to do is we are going to just copy this whole code, and we are going to paste it like this. Here we are going to change the sign now. I'm going to make it 40. Here also I'm going to make it 40. Let's see whether we'll be able to control the ball. Not now. Okay, I'm still facing the same issue. What else do we need to do? Okay, now I think this velocity that we have defined here, we need to cut this part from here, and we need to paste it here. After, when this where the if loop is ending, we need to paste it here, so that the because right now the value of dx is positive, we need the value of the we need this value of dx, that is a negative value of dx. Every time when the ball hits these two walls or the ball comes here, okay, we need the ball to move in the opposite direction. So now let's see whether we'll be able to see. Okay, now it is working fine. So this is how we can get the ball move in the required way. Fine, now this code is working fine. I'm going to change it to blocks again. Now what I want is, I want that this, I want to move this bar also. Yesterday, in the application that we made yesterday, in that we were having a plane which we made to move using the direction keys. But today what we are going to do is, we are going to code in such a way that we can move it through our cursor also. Okay, sorry, through our mouse also. Fine, so that's how we are going to code it. Now how can we do that? So for doing that, what we can do, we need to do first is, we need to make use of the if loop first. And from this world tab over here, what is the block that we need to make use of? It's mouse did move. Okay, this is a block that you can use for controlling the mouse with your cursor, or you can say mouse. Now if the mouse moves, what I want is, I want the sprite also to move. Now when you are moving in this direction, only the value of x is changing. Okay, the value of y is going to remain the same. The value of x is the one which is going to change every time if you are going to move the bar like this and this. So I am going to make use of this sprite.x block. Okay, and bar dot x, and I want to move it with my world. Okay, so that's world dot mouse x. Fine, so wherever my mouse will be moving here on the x-axis in the same direction, the bar will also be moving. Let's see whether we'll be able to make the bar move or not. Okay, we are able to move it. Now what else we are left with? What I want is, when this ball hits this bar, I want it to change its direction and move in the opposite direction. So how can I do that? For doing that, what is the sprite that we can use? Again, we can use this sprite is touching. So for using that, we need to have an if, we need to define an if loop first. Okay, and then we are going to come on this sprites, and then we then need to take this is touching, where the is that. Okay, so fine. Now what do we want here? We want that when the bar, the target is ball, when the bar touches the ball, I want, you know uh, okay, sorry, instead of this, we need to use this. And the only thing that we will be defining is the value of dy. We are not going to take into consideration the x-axis here, just because what I want is, when the ball hits this bar, I want it to see, I want this ball to I want to see it moving in this direction, in the upper direction. So when we are moving in this direction, in the upward direction, the value of y is the only thing which change, but the value of x remains the same. So here I'm going to define this thing. What else do I need to define? Sprite, do I need to define this sprite dot velocity x or not? That's what I need to think about. We need to define, I think, this velocity y, of course. So it will be equal to, again it will be equal to dy. Fine, and now let's check whether we'll be able to get the required thing or not. Yeah, that is looking great now. See, fine. Now what else do we require? We want, to get the score also. Every time the ball hits this bar, every time we are successful in hitting this ball with this bar, we want the score to get incremented by 1. Now how can we do that? We are going to define a variable, a counter variable for that. So this, I'm going to define it here. Let me just change it to score. This is the variable, and initially the value of this counter variable is going to be 0. Now whenever, here we need to make some changes. If suppose the bar, we miss to hit this ball with the bar, what I want is, I want the value of score to get decremented by 1. Okay, so that's how I can define it. Now whenever we are successful in hitting the bar, that is this portion, we want this value of score to get incremented by 1. Okay, we want the value to get incremented by 1, that is the value of the score. Okay, and how can we get the score reflected over here on this what we call world area? For that we can make use of this text. Okay, we can make use of this text block. Now the value of the score is going to get stored in which variable? That is the score. Okay, and we want it to get reflected somewhere over here. Okay, that is 166.66. So here we are going to define the position 166 and 66. Let me just convert it into text, and you know I want to make the look of the score pretty good. So that's why I am making some changes here. That's how I can, this is a text that is going to get reflected just before the score, and this is a score that is going to get reflected just after this text. Now this is how it is going to look like. As you can see, the score is incrementing. Now let me just change the color also, so that I can make it look more visible on my screen. So text size, text font. Okay, first of all, let me just increase the text size first. Let's say around 32, about 32. Now it is looking fine. And let me just change the position also. 117.59, 117 and 66. How about this? This is looking fine. So now, as you can see, the score is also incrementing. And if suppose I miss to hit the ball, what's gonna happen? So the score will get decreased. The value of the score will get decreased by 1. So that's how you can code the whole app. Now your homework is, you need to make some changes in the code. If suppose I want to increase the speed of this ball, the ball is coming on this bar very slowly, from top to the bottom it is coming very slowly. How can we increase the this speed of the ball? That's what you have to do it on your own. And please tell me, if you are in case you are successful in defining the code for the same, please do let me know in the comment section that how can we increase the speed of this ball. Okay, that's what you need, that's what you have to work on. Fine, thank you very much for joining me in this lecture, and hope to see you in the next lecture too. Have a nice day. Bye everyone. दिखा दिखा